A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. About 5 minutes worth. Marley was dead to begin with. There was no doubt whatever about that. The register of the burial was signed by the clergyman, the clerk, the undertaker, and the chief mourner. Scrooge signed it. And Scrooge's name was good upon change for anything he chose to put his hand to. Old Marley was as dead as a doornail. Mind, I don't mean to say that I know of my own knowledge what there is particularly dead about a doornail. I might have been inclined myself to regard a coffin nail as the deadest piece of ironmongery in the trade. And now we're skipping ahead. Marley's ghost has appeared.
Ask me who I was.
Who were you then? Said Scrooge, raising his voice.
You're particular for a shade. In life, I was your partner, Jacob Marley.
Can you sit down? Asked Scrooge, looking doubtfully at him.
I can.
Do it then.
You don't believe in me,
observed the ghost. I don't, said Scrooge.
What evidence would you have of my reality beyond that of your senses?
I don't know, said Scrooge.
Why do you doubt your senses?
Because, said Scrooge, a little thing affects them. A slight disorder of the stomach makes them cheats. You may be an undigested bit of beef, a blot of mustard, a crumb of cheese, a fragment of an underdone potato. There's more of gravy than of grave about you, whatever you are. Now we're skipping ahead slightly. At this, the spirit raised a frightful cry and shook its chain with such a dismal and appalling noise that Scrooge held on tight to his chair to save himself from falling in a swoon. But how much greater was his horror when the phantom, taking off the bandage round its head as if it were too warm to wear indoors, its lower jaw dropped down upon its breast. Scrooge fell upon his knees and clasped his hands before his face. "Mercy," he said, "dreadful apparition, why do you trouble me?" Last piece. We're skipping almost all the way to the end. We are at Old Joe and the rag pickers, with the ghost of Christmas yet to come. Mrs. Dilbert was next. Sheets and towels, a little wearing apparel, 2 old-fashioned silver spoons, a pair of sugar tongs, and a few boots. Her account was stated on the wall in the same manner.
I always give too much to the ladies. It's a weakness of mine, and that's the way I ruin myself, said old Joe. That's your account. If you asked me for another penny and made it an open question, I'd repent of being so liberal and knock off half a crown.
And now deal with my bundle, Joe, said the first woman. Joe went down on his knees for the greater convenience of opening it, and having unfastened a great many knots, dragged out a large and heavy roll of some dark stuff.
What do you call this?
Said Joe.
Bed curtains?
Ah? Returned the woman, laughing and leaning forward on her crossed arms.
Bed curtains? You don't mean you took 'em down, rings and all, with him lying there?
Said Joe. Yes, I do, replied the woman. Why not?
You were born to make your fortune, said Joe, and you'll certainly do it.
I certainly shan't hold my hand when I could get anything in it by reaching it out for such of the sake of a man as he was, I promise you, Joe, returned the woman coolly. Don't drop that oil upon the blankets now.
His blankets?
Asked Joe. Who else's do you think? Replied the woman. Is it likely to take cold without them? I dare say. Now go find a version and enjoy.